Fulham 0, Manchester United 1. Breathe a sigh of relief because all we had to do is win that game. Was it pretty? Absolutely not. Absolute smash and grab job. Bit of magic from Bruno when he didn't play very well at all in the game. Played awful. I was calling for him to come off, as you saw. But he came up with the goods, man. And I ain't going to say he saved Erik ten Hag's job, but it just goes such a long way in just relieving some of that pressure. Because if you don't win football matches in times like these, you got nothing. And it's a ticking time bomb for when the manager's eventually going to get sacked. So it was only a win for Man United today. And it didn't, for large parts, it didn't look like we were going to get it. But you know what? I'm going to start with the positives because it's been so negative recently. We've been moaning a lot. I've been moaning a lot. You lot told me on the stream, Flex, stop moaning. And there is a bigger picture that I'm going to talk about as well. But for the start of this breakdown, I got to say that Maguire played really well. I'm going to pick out the people who played really well. I thought Wan-Bissaka played really well as well. And I thought Scott McTominay did okay as well, putting it about, good energy, good physicality. The rest wasn't very good. I think Garnacho as well. He kept trying, drawing fouls, trying to pick up the ball and be positive with the ball. The quality wasn't always there, but he played the game with the right spirit, with the right attitude, with the right intent. And I think the defenders, Johnny Evans as well, composed, calm, no silly mistakes, no rashness. I think Dalot, okay, maybe going forward wasn't quite where he needed to be, but defended quite well. So the whole back four, Onana made some saves that he just should make, which he did. I haven't seen the first one back. It looked like a weird save, but he saved it. He just made sure he didn't make any mistakes. So the whole back five with the keeper there, they deserve big credit. And Harry Maguire, if you think about it, he's been ridiculed. He's had the captaincy taken off him. You know, I've not been his biggest fan in terms of, him being here. I think a lot of us could agree on that. But where he does deserve credit, when you have to give credit where credit's due for this 90-minute performance now, he deserves the credit because he's standing up and being counted. Do you know what I'm saying? He after a minute or so, he takes a big bang to the head where he looks pretty much concussed and he looks like, he might have to come off. But he won his duels, he won his headers, he was passing between the lines as well, some switches of play as well. I haven't seen his stats, but I think his passing stats will be good. He just kept winning things. He kept doing his job, as Roy Keane would say. He kept doing his job, but to a good level. So he gave us the basis at the back to say, look, I feel quite comfortable. I feel comfortable with where we're at the moment, and as long as we don't make mistakes, I think we're going to be okay. So he deserves props. And in the absence of Raphael Varane, which seems mysterious right now, it's a clean sheet for Evans and Maguire. I'm not saying that should be the future of the club. Of course, in the last game against Newcastle, we got torn a new one. In the game before that, we got torn a new one. So you can't say that there's longevity in this partnership just yet. But for today, they did well. And even in the games where we have been getting smoked, we've been looking at those two in particular, in Evans and Maguire, and they haven't been the worst players on the pitch. It's a bigger indication as to where Man United are right now. But to be honest with you, those two deserve credit, especially Harry Maguire. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, having him back is just a breath of fresh air. You know what I mean? Just the calmness that he has in the game. He doesn't let people go past him. Marco Silva spoke about it before the game, about how good he is in 1v1 situations. And he was just calm and composed. And he gave us a little edge going forward as well. So those are the positives. Now, look, the negatives, if there can be some when you lose a game, when you win a game, because I still think there can be, is in our performance. That was a poor game of football. We got robbed with the VAR decision. I know Harry Maguire goes for the ball, so they look to rule it out. All right, cool, fair enough, I understand that. But other than that, did we do enough? No, that game was looking like it was going to be 0-0. There was a period in the second half, halfway through the second half, where Fulham turned the screw and Onana had to make a couple of saves, and then it was opening up a little bit. But if I'm talking about the players who didn't cover themselves in glory today, Anthony, absolutely shocking performance from him. Kept losing the ball, no intensity, no quality. not winning the ball back, making foul. He was just absolutely awful, and it continues. And when Pellistri came on, he made a couple of mistakes, but he gave more than Anthony gave in the whole time he was on. So he was absolutely awful. I want to talk about Eriksen. Poor. I can see why he came off. Just wasn't good enough today. Apart from the ball he put in that led to the goal that was disallowed, I didn't see enough of him. I think McTominay was decent today. He was okay, not amazing, but wasn't really, you know, getting on the front foot, but he was physical, and again, he played the game in the right way, so I'll give him a bye. And Bruno, let's be honest, listen, he comes up with the magic, and you know what? That decision paid off for Erik ten Hag to leave him on in that game. I have to hold my hands up. We have to hold our hands up in that moment and say it was the right decision to leave him on, because look what he produced. He had the calmness there to sit Paulinho and Harry Wilson down and just cut in and put it into a difficult position for Leno not to be able to make a comfortable save, and it went in. On a different day, that would have been a save. But let's not gas up his performance and say that he was good for 90 minutes, because he was awful. He was absolutely atrocious, if I'm being honest with you. But he's won us the game, so you can't really criticise somebody who's literally just won you the game. But where you can criticise them is the overall picture, because when we're playing against average sides, we're just as average as them, and we're just nicking games. This was like Copenhagen, this was like Sheffield United, this was like Brentford. What other games have we just nicked this year? I forgot the wins that we had. Wolves, Nottingham Forest. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're just getting by. And that's not good enough. That's not sustainable. We can't build on that. Right now, where we are, we're losing football matches in a bad way. You know, conceded 6 goals in the last 2 games. Awful. So I get that. It's just about winning. But when you see performances like that, like Sol was saying, when you see performances like that, you are a little bit like, I didn't like what I saw. That doesn't fill me with confidence. Does that fill me with confidence going away to Copenhagen and say, now I know we're going to put in a good performance? No, it doesn't. You know, and if Bruno plays as poorly as that and doesn't have a last-minute winner to show for it, then what? If Anthony starts the game, which he probably will in Copenhagen, unless he's got something up his sleeve, Erik ten Hag, and has that to show for it, then nothing. Another player I want to talk about is Rasmus Højlund as well. Like, I feel sorry for the kid. He's feeding off absolute scratch. He can't get a kick. He didn't even have a shot. Because every time we give it to him, and I get it, he's a striker, you've got to play back to goal. You know, if you want to be a box striker as well, you might not see loads of the ball. But all we did was give him the ball with 2 defenders up his arse, and he's just got to fight and scrap his way through it. Really frustrating for him. And when he came off, you can see that frustrating figure from him. He looks a very frustrated figure. He's just doing doggies, doing donkey work, having to just fight defenders. We're not getting him involved in the game. So there is still big concerns of how we're playing. That was an awful game of football between 2 teams who had very limited quality. And the only difference is that we had a Bruno and they had an Andreas Pereira. They had a Harry Wilson or a Decado Reed. I'm not being disrespectful to them players, but Bruno can produce magic just like that. He did it against Burnley and he's done it again today. So on that note, you've got to big up Bruno for doing that, of course. But sustainability and moving forward, so much more to come from Man United if we even want to talk about a turnaround. Does this ease the pressure on Ten Hag? Well, it does in one way, because we've won the game. And it was unthinkable to get a draw or a loss today, which I predicted we'd lose 1-0. I couldn't see it. So on that, the players deserve credit and the defence deserves credit. But we can't gas up this performance. That there was a lucky escape. It was. Bruno spared our blushes. It's a bit of Bruno magic, and it was a smash and grab. That's what it was. That's all it was. And we have to look forward to Copenhagen. But in this moment, I will leave on a positive, because it has been so negative. And like we're speaking about with AV and a lot of times where we have to come out of this period to back Ten Hag and come out of this period. If we are going to come out of this period, we have to win games. We have to win games, and it's going to be ugly. It's not going to be great to watch, but we have to win. And that's what we did do today. My man of the match is not Bruno. My man of the match is actually Harry Maguire. But I can see why Bruno gets it. The hardest thing in football is to, you know, put the ball in the back of the net, and that's what he done. Harry Maguire did his job, which keeps us a clean sheet, but someone still needs to score a goal, and that's what Bruno did. So, yeah, let me know who your man of the match is. And on to Copenhagen. Massive with a win. Peace.